good evening to all. Myself Vaibhav. In today's session of automated trading, we will be finishing off this setup which we have been developing for most part of this week. So this is the fourth and the final part of TRIX and LRA, linear regression angle, and using these both of the indicators, we have tried to develop a fairly profitable setup, and looking at the results, we will be able to figure out if it is profitable or not. Of course, we won't really be able to test it for quite long. We will maybe, if possible, if time permits, we will test it for a week or two, and then I will leave it to you to test it for extended period of time. TRIX is simply the rate of change of the triple exponential moving average, which we are utilizing as a momentum indicator to help us guide with the detection and the direction of the trend. The linear regression angle, we are utilizing this for entry and the entry optimizing purpose. We will figure out the possible trend change on the short term while utilizing the TRIX as our major guiding force. Before we get started for today's session, this is a standard disclaimer here. I would again like to remind that this session is simply for the tutorial purpose and no claim is being made regarding the profitability or otherwise of the algorithms which we will be developing during the session. Suppose if you want to use any of it, I would recommend that you do extensive trial runs and also allow it to run on the demo account for good enough time. And last but not the least, nothing in the webinar is to be constructed as an advice to trade or for any particular setup. With that note, we get started for the day. In today's session, we are mainly focused on the short selling opportunities. We have already finished with our buy side setup. Now in today's setup, we will be building on the sell side. For the sell side, the requirement is that this TRIX value, it should be falling. We are not concerned with absolute value. It might be in positive territory, it might be in negative territory. So here now, starting from 1 GMT of 4th June, the TRIX value has started to fall, and that will mean our algorithm can look for short selling opportunities. Then the attention shifts to the linear regression angle, and the requirement is that the linear regression angle should be in positive territory, and then it should have been rising earlier, and then the reversal should happen, it start to fall. So it means that on the short term perspective, from the short term perspective, it was in the retracement zone while the trend is on the downside, and then as and when the shift happens, we will be executing, we will be placing orders for the short sale opportunity, which will be placed at half the distance between the last tick and the maxima, and we will take the difference, and then we will take the half of it and add it to the last tick price, and our order will be valid for at least 3 hours. And so that is the idea behind the setup. And here we are not actually seeing the trend change, but that is the setup. And this time around again, after a couple of hours, we might see that TRIX is again shifting on the upside, but then it is in a overbought scenario, and because of that the TRIX has started to fall. And also here the linear regression angle is showing a shift on the downside. But in other instances, when there will be a due trend change, in those scenarios we will be indeed profiting. So of course, no algorithm or no setup is foolproof. Some time or the other, something crops up which is not going to behave as per our setup requirements, and for that purpose we utilize the stop loss. Suppose if we happen to be wrong, it will close the trade in half the loss compared to the profit which we target, as we are utilizing a risk reward ratio of 1:2. With that note, we get started for our setup. So what we have done so far, we did instrument subscription. This time around, the USD JPY is our instrument of choice, the default instrument. The position amount has been defined at 0. Then we got these TRIX indicators of shift 1 and shift 4 defined at hourly time frame. Linear regression angle is also defined at hourly time frame, and as I explained, it will help us figure out the entry point. Then we got these min-max blocks for calculation and the order placement, both side, buy and the sell side. And then this calculation we did for the determination of the buy execution price, and here we have finished it. And then we got these historical candles for entry purpose. Here this is the hourly and then 10 seconds candle to be precise about the entry order validity for 3 hours. Then we define the sell side, and after that we moved on to finish the buy side with requirement TRIX value should be rising, and this linear regression angle should be in negative territory, and then the reversal should be happening. And for the precise execution point, the 10-second candle should start to rise above the last hour's candle close, and then our order will be placed with pending open system. So now we will need to start working on the sales side. For that we will need to put in the if conditions, the if blocks, and as we saw we need almost 7 to I think exact 8 if conditions and then one pending open. So let's start working. The TRIX value, it should be falling. That means the last hour's TRIX value should be less than the TRIX value 4 hours back. We have provided the candle difference for 3 hours. So here it is. It should be falling, means first input is less than second input. Then the question is of linear regression angle, and as I said, we want some retracement to have happened, and that means the linear regression angle is in positive territory. And then from that, whenever the reversal happens, we will be placing the fresh order there. So here we take this line 16, line 17, line 18. Those are linear regression angle values. Shift 1, shift 2, and shift 3. Line 16, line 17, and line 18. So here we have defined this, and here we need the value 0, 0, okay, and all these values should be above 0. So first input greater than second input, first input again greater than second input, and we need fresh 8 blocks. And here also first input greater than second input. So we have defined this. Let us take these to the cell side where they belong, and then we will compare the linear regression values amongst the 3 blocks. And here it comes. Now so here we got this, and we join the flow and it starts working. Not now line 18 and line 17. So we have got here all the requirement regarding the absolute values of the LRA. Now we look for the change, the trend change in LRA. So for that we need to compare the line 16 to line 17 and then the line 17 to line 18. First we will compare the line 17 to line 18 and line 17, which is the penultimate candle's linear regression angle value. It should have been rising, that means line 17 should be greater than line 18, and then afterwards for the last candle close the value should be less, that means line 16 should be less than line 17. So it will be the marker that so here we need line 17 to be greater than line 18 and then line 16 to be less than line 16 should be less than line 17. So here is this requirement, and now is the time to bring again two more if blocks as we are entering into the final phase of defining the precise entry point. So here for if blocks, and we are almost done. Now we have defined the requirement regarding the TRIX and the LRA. Now is the time to go to the historical candle data, and there we will try to figure out the precise entry and the exit point. So here it comes. As I said, line 16 should be less than the second input. So here we need to compare now the 10 seconds candle close data. We want the price to start falling below last hourly candle, so we go and check on the 10 seconds time frame whenever the value starts to fall below the candle 26 candle 25, which is the hourly candle with shift 1, that is look back period 1. So last hour candle close value, and then we will compare that value to the immediate current price action. So first thing, we will need candle 27 to have closed above candle 25, and then the next candle, the candle 26, should close below the candle 25. that will mark the moment for placing the order provided the rest of the conditions are in place. So what we do now is to look at the candle 27's closing, and the candle 27's close needs to be above the candle 25's close. And here candle 27's close needs to be greater, and then candle 26 candle 26 close needs to be candle 25's close. It should be less, and then we can bring in the pending open order. So now we are entering into the final phase. Oops, what happened here? Oh, something seems to have gone wrong, and that shouldn't be happening. Oh no. All of our work done will go to waste if this persists. I don't know exactly what's went wrong. Some network issues, I guess. Let me figure it out. If we are able to sort it out in a minute, then we will resume our work. Okay, we have got the connectivity back. All right. So now let us see. Okay. Oh, thank God, we are not losing out on time. Now we need to bring in the pending open. So here candle 26 close needs to be less than the candle 25 close. Now let us take these blocks where they belong, that is on the sell side, and then we will put in the values for sell side, sell limit order, and we will be all set then to test the setup to see what kind of results we are able to generate. And let's be hopeful that we will get encouraging results for the setup which we have built. So now here candle 25, candle 26, candle 26 close is less than candle 25 close. Now we put in the values for the cell side execution. It should be cell limit, so we make it cell limit. The price needs to be the SE, cell execution price, which we have defined already in yesterday's session. So here we put that value, and default instrument, and this one is at 0.1 million. 0.1 million, slippage is at 2 pips, stop loss is at 15 pips, and take profit is at 30 pips, and here order validity, which we have already calculated, that is OVT 3 hours. So here we are all set to now test the setup to see what kind of results we are able to generate. So here we go. Let us save the file and then we will export it. June 2nd. Okay. Now we need to export it in Java format. Okay. And the month is June, and here we will save this file June 2nd, and we import the same file in the Visual J4X platform. And here I have a couple of earlier algorithms running. Now we have to go to the same folder, location, tech, and June. We got this file June 2nd. So here is the code in Java. It is not much long, just little less than 1000 lines. And we need to compile it first. Before testing, we need to do the compilation. And here you can read compilation successful. So now is the time to test it. We will test it for AR. We are not exactly privileged on time. We don't have much time, so because of that we won't test it for much long. Instrument is well set, account is also fine, and now is the time to start the test. And I would like to remind that while testing there might be some issues with the audio, so bear with me. So I won't talk much either, and we will wait it out for a minute or so. So default take profit, all we don't we are going with a combination of 13 to 15. Slippage is at 2 pips. Okay, let's go. So the test run has begun, means the algorithm is machine readable and it has been successfully compiled, it's functioning. Now we have to see if it is going to perform the trades as we desired or not. So that is the thing which needs to be checked out. Here we saw one order was placed but it didn't really execute, and then eventually it was cancelled. And the test run is not exactly fast because of that. We will not test it for much long, and we will wrap up the testing. Here as we saw, the orders are getting placed, so it's functional. Now in 2 days of testing, one order was placed and it didn't really execute. So here order total is 1, which remain unexecuted. So there was no opened or closed, but only it was cancelled after the timeout. So that's it from my side for today's session. And if you want to use this one, I would recommend that you do extensive testing before deciding on its profitability or otherwise. And then if it proves worthy enough, you can use it, or we can utilize the same idea for building the for building on, and next time we can do some additions as well. So we will be back tomorrow in Monday session. Till then, have a fabulous time and profitable trading session. Goodbye.